Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Freeman Files here on the J-Free 906 podcast channel. Tom Burns, Seth Bridges here one last time this season.
Taking it to the bedrock, baby.
Taking it to the bedrock.
Take it to the bedrock.
At least one more time for sure. Hey, I hope you're all doing well tonight. Thank you very much for joining us here for the season finale show. The Curse of Oak Island, episode number 25, uplifting discoveries. Well, I have to admit, I was a wee bit disappointed by the season finale. I was expecting to get a few more answers, but you know what? We did get a couple of things. If you listen closely and you watch closely, we did get a couple of little tidbits of.
There were some tidbits, yep.
Yeah. So,
but I had no way I could have left that pile of spoils on the shore. Not a hope.
No.
Especially with hurricane season still on. Not a hope.
Oh my gosh! If that washed out to the sea because of that would not be good.
No.
Oh. Now you're making me worry. Well, they're back now. So, we think they're back. We're not exactly sure. Anyway, folks, thank you again for being here with us tonight. We appreciate it. And if you haven't already, please consider giving the channel a like and subscribing to the channel as well.
I like that, Michelle.
Michelle, yeah.
What'd she say?
Is this the solution channel? J-Free 906.
Wow, Michelle Colmeyer. Yes, it is.
We have the solutions.
Oh, she's the viewer of the day for that. Thank you very much. You just got an award for that. All right, that's really good. A couple things I want to mention, of course, is hey, folks, don't forget we have Oak Island Con 2025. It's going to be September. If you haven't heard already, I mean, it's going to be September 23rd and 24th of this year. It's up there in Nova Scotia, just right across the street from the Oak Island Resort. So we're really, really excited about this. Tony was going to join me here tonight and talk about it a little bit, but I think he is probably trying to get boats, going or something happening with the boats. I'm not really sure. But we have Lorraine. I see her in the chat. Thank you very much. Lorraine and I spent a lot of time trying to put this together. And then thankfully with our connections with Tony, it all started to come together and happen. So I want to let you folks know a couple of points on Oak Island Con. One, no pop-ins. In other words, you can't show up at the door and expect to come in and see the presentations. This is a pre-purchase deal. You got to buy your ticket ahead of time. We have a limited number of seats. And honestly, the last I heard, there's only 12 left. I think that's what it's at right now. The last I saw was 12 seats left. So you've got to, they're going quick. So, but you can't just show up at the door and say, hey, I want to come in and say, no, I'm sorry. That's not going to work. It has to be done this way this time. Maybe next year. We don't know what's going to happen with that. But also we've heard that some folks were having some trouble with the getting on Tony's website. That's where it's all handled, is through Tony's website. And what you do is you go in there and he has a little, they call it pancakes. So 2 little lines, you drop that down and you have different things you can choose. You choose on Oak Island Con 2025. Then it takes you have to scroll the months ahead because it'll be in May, obviously. So you scroll ahead till September, pick the 24th. The first, the 9 o'clock is sold out. That one's already gone. I'm sorry. The 11 o'clock is sold out. That one's gone. The 9 o'clock still has 12 seats available. The last I saw. And the thing of it is actually the 9 o'clock actually may be better to be on. The water is calmer. There might be a little fog. You never know, but the water's calmer in the morning and your chances of seeing the guys on the island is higher because they're just arriving and getting their day started. So anyway, just a couple of things for that, but there's 12 seats left. So you got to get that. And so if you're having any trouble, some folks were having trouble navigating Tony's site to get to those 2 seats or get to those 2 times for the boat tour. If you have trouble, you can call Tony. He's got his phone number on his website. Just give him a call. I would put it up here, but I didn't write it down in advance, expecting him to be here. Or you can email me, J-Free 906 at, there you go. There you go. Thank you, Linda. I appreciate that. You can just email me at jfree906@gmail.com and I'll help you out. We'll get your name, make sure you get registered. So 12 tickets left. So we gotta get this going. So or you need to get it going if you want to go to this. It's really going to be a lot of fun. I can't wait. I know I've been talking to the guys on the island and they're all excited about coming and talking and meeting people and everything. So yeah, it's gonna be a blast. It really is. All right. I think I covered all the important things about that real quick. So let's get started with tonight. Again, one more thing. I knew there was something else I wanted to mention. Sorry, Tom and Seth. You guys are sitting here waiting. This here next Wednesday night. Obviously, we had the season finale last night. What do you get?
Oh, somebody asked what's on my mug. So
okay.
Ninja Turtles.
We had the season finale last night, and so we got it coming up this next week. We have somebody that is going to join us, and I'm going to put this up on screen real quick. And so here it is right here. Corian posted this in some of the Facebook groups already. So next Wednesday night, because Oak Island is done now, so next Wednesday night, he's going to join me once again. He's got this all cleared with all the powers of be to this. He's got some really cool information to share with us. Stuff that goes beyond what you saw on the show concerning the bloodline, the Oak Island bloodline. So, okay, cool. That's great. Thank you, Linda. So check this out. Next Wednesday night, same time, 7:30 p.m. Eastern time. We're going to have him on again, and it's going to be really good. He's got something. We just had him on not long ago, but he's got more stuff that he can now share. So you're going to want to be here for that. So next Wednesday night, 7:30 p.m. Eastern time, the Oak Island Bloodline with Corian Mall. So this is going to be cool. So can't wait for that.
Cool.
Yeah, going to be good stuff. All right, so let's get started. Let's jump right into this. If I can get my computer to cooperate with me here. I got a new computer, just built a new one, so I'm having a little fun with it here. Right? Yeah, I know, right?
Uh-oh.
The
curse lives. The island's revenge.
All right, got it. There we go. Built a new computer, but it actually works pretty well. So, all right. Episode number 25, Uplifting Discoveries. As you all know, they started off in the Money Pit on the show last night. Rick and Marty met with the other members of the team in the Money Pit as they were starting the airlift process, getting that thing going. And that was where if you don't understand the airlift thing, I think they pretty well covered it on the show, talking about pumping some 300 PSI into the hole through an airline and then sucking up everything that's on the bottom in the large of the tubes you see right here. And then it comes out and it goes into this tank over here on the side and it blows all the dirt, rocks, and whatever spoils else is there gets blown into this container with all the water. They pump the water out after they let everything settle to the bottom. They pump the water out, and then whatever's left, they dig it out of there or suck it out of there and go through it all, right?
Yeah, I looked at that trailer that they had hooked up there, and I looked at the specs on it. It delivers up to 1,170 cubic feet per minute of air, and at pressures of up to 365 pounds per square inch.
Up to 365. I thought it was 300.
Yeah. I mean, they might be using 300.
Right.
Their pressure, right? But the maximum is 365. So
wow,
powerful piece of equipment.
That is, and that's that. Yeah, I can't even imagine what 300 psi would do to your skin if it was blown directly at you.
Oh, it would burn it right off, peel it off.
Burn your skin.
It would. Yep, just the air friction. Yep. Yeah,
exactly. So that's really interesting that they could do that. And then suck up everything off the bottom. Now, this was Caisson TOT-1, as you all know, called the one thing. And, so I was, I was a little concerned on this process because here it is here. This is the diagram of kind of showing, or the picture of kind of showing what it would do. And they show that the Caisson, what they felt it was doing was sitting on the edge of the bedrock
Right. Yep.
partially exposed into the solution channel.
Hmm.
TOT-1 does not go into the Dunfield circle. No, I don't believe it does.
It's right on
Anyways,
the edge.
so then they can get those tubes down into the bottom of the solution channel to suck everything up off of the bottom there. And it's going to be confined to that area in which it goes down.
Even if TOT-1 was in the Dunfield circle, right? It's way deeper than Dunfield went. So
Yes. Oh, absolutely. Yeah, that only went down 100 feet or something
yeah,
like that.
so they're down 100 feet deeper than he was.
Yeah. So yeah, it goes way beyond the Dunfield circle.
Mhm.
And then you see here's all the stuff blowing out into that container. Then they would let it settle and then go from there. And here's another shot of it here going into that container. You see it all. And you see the water will rise and then it'll go into this other section here as it dumps into there. And it's a continual process, but it keeps all the spoils, all the hard stuff will settle to the bottom and then they can
Yep.
go through it.
So it's basically a glorified sluice box.
Yes. Yes. That's good. Very good analogy.
Yep.
One thing I wanted to point out when the guys got over to, and we talked about this Caisson being left in the money pit all winter long. And there it is. You see it right there. And they've cleared out. I mean, look at the money pit. This is at the point where they're looking into the tank to see, looking at the spoils in there, and the money pit's already cleared. It's gone. Everybody is left. I thought that was really interesting. And this is still kind of September-ish, end of September, probably right around that time.
Yeah, I found some photos from from Oak Island, the other side of the causeway today, and they were hauling equipment off there. They were hauling that glorified sluice box, as we call it. What was the date on that? I think it was early October. They were hauling that off. It was gone. Yeah, September the 30th was Karen had a shot from her kayak that actually shows them sucking out the sluice box with the sewer truck they brought in or the suction truck they brought in.
Yep.
She just happened to catch that shot. It's got everything right in there. And then on October 2nd, they show that box. She's got a picture of it actually leaving the island.
Yep.
So they were gone October 2nd.
Right. And it was cleaned out at that point. They're not going to, if everything's out of it and moved over to wherever it is.
September 30th, the suction truck was cleaning it out.
Yep. So there you go. So at that point, they had to, and how long did they have to let it sit and settle in that tank? I would say a few days anyway.
At the most, overnight, it'll settle.
You think so? Yeah, probably.
They just got to get the water. They got to let the sediment settle. It's still going to be muddy water in the morning.
Any gold or silver would be.
But anything of any value is going to be on the bottom. So all you have to do is put some kind of a sub pump in there and pump that stuff out.
Yeah, here's a shot of inside the tank, and it's just a sloppy, yucky mess.
Anybody surprised at how little there is?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, he said it was about 2 feet deep into one section. I don't know which section he was looking in. Scott Barlow was looking in there, and he said it was about 2 feet deep where he was looking.
Yeah. So what that tells me is they only cleaned off the top of that bedrock.
That's something I was thinking about too.
I don't think they went below the bedrock because that thing would have sucked for days. Right? I mean, they could have gone down in there and cleaned that hole because there's got to be all kinds of stuff down in there, and it would more than fill that sluice box.
Yeah, because I feel like the show has led me to picture the solution channel as potentially huge, like especially in certain parts. And I was just picturing this big, deep, cavernous space, and I was kind of confused.
Well, we know it holds 100 tons of backfill.
Yeah.
So that's not a small space.
No, it's not.
What's weird too is all those rocks, and I know we'll get there. All those rocks are uniform. Like there's no big rocks.
I think some of those are the backfill from the other Caisson.
Yeah, that's what I thought
they were
too.
shoving the rocks about yay big in there.
Mm-hmm.
They were putting finer gravel in there, but they also had piles of these rocks
Yep.
That
Yeah. So
worked
did
out.
they get anything out of the solution channel? They just got
I
their
don't
own
know.
backfill.
I don't know. And
I mean-
here's another reason why, to answer your question. Alex had said this during the show. If you caught this, he said it's really sputtering, as though there is a lot more material in the caisson than we thought.
Mm.
And I asked this question last week. How do they know, without putting a camera down there or sonar down there, how do they even know that they're in the solution channel?
Yeah, that's another good question.
Well, they
Do
know
they
how
have
deep.
sonar? We just don't see it on the show.
They know how deep. They know how long the caisson pipe is,
Yeah.
right? Because they're a fixed measurement. So, and I would hope that they know how much hose they put down the hole.
Hmm.
Yep.
So it should be a pretty simple mathematical exercise, I would think.
Yeah.
You know, if the caisson's down at 195 feet, we put 210 feet of pipe down the hole, so we've got to be below the caisson.
You would think that's the case. Yes.
But that,
exactly.
you know, I don't know.
You know what, and that's one of the things I hate.
Yeah.
Was that we're not there on the island when they're filming this and when they're
Mm.
going through all this stuff, so we really don't know many of the details that they do. So that I hate, but you know that I wish I could just call them up and say, "Hey, okay, what about this?" I know we all do.
Yeah,
Right?
they're-
Everybody here.
Previously, before they got caught on the ledge, they had said, "Oh, that material means we're in the solution channel." And then they got caught, and they were like, "Oh, we're on the ledge above the solution channel." And I was like, "Wait, I thought you were in it."
Do you have the shot there, Jeff, of when they were down doing the metal detecting on the shore when they found the pick?
Yes.
Look how much gravel's there. That's a
I
lot.
know.
That's a lot more than 2 feet in that green container.
That's coming up here in just a second. Yeah.
That's a lot more than 2 feet in that green container. When you
Lisa Bates, hang on just a second.
Yeah, that's a good point, Lisa.
I'm going to be talking about just that very thing.
They must still
Come
use
on,
that
Jeff, get
data.
going, get going.
I know, no, I'm having a lag in here. But yeah, it really concerned me that are they really in the solution channel or not? How do they know?
I don't know.
I know. I agree with you, Tom. You're exactly right. If they got 200 feet of caisson in there and they're put the pipe down and it goes beyond that 200 feet, then you got to assume you're in the solution channel.
And why stop?
Right. And if it's down at the bottom of the solution channel, how much area is that thing going to suck up? Is it going to be a 10-foot diameter, a 20-foot diameter, 5-foot diameter? How much area will it actually? Because it's not like they're moving it around going, all right, let's get this all
very limited movement. Very limited movement.
And they would only have 7 feet to go around it, right? So I mean,
and probably they'd have less than that because of the lip that's down there.
Yeah, exactly. So you think about it, folks. You're confining yourself to a very small space down there, and you're hoping that needle in the haystack, which is the solution channel, is going to pull something up significant.
Mm-hmm.
It's a I don't know, a shot in the dark. You know, if they did pull up the one thing, then that would be great. But honestly, I do believe, and this is why I was saying I think the season was good. I really do overall, even though the finale was a little, I do believe the season was very good, and I think they're in the right place now.
Yeah. Anytime there's an Oak Island ending and we haven't found the one thing, it's going to be disappointing feeling, right?
Yes.
But if I would have never guessed that we would have been this close to both the treasure and to majority, seems like fellowship, all in agreement and nobody rolling their eyes when they bring up Templars. Like we've taken huge leaps forwards in the storyline for what was considered pretty like far out there a couple seasons ago. So it was a good season. It was a great season.
It really was.
For me,
it's so tantalizingly close.
The caissons proved that we know where certain landmarks are.
Yes.
Right. We've removed the doubt of, where's the chapel shaft? Where are these different shafts? Where are these? Yeah. Where are these shafts? We've removed that. Oh, I wonder when they're doing the boring program. Well, we could be into. Well, we've removed that doubt now.
Yeah,
exactly.
Right? They can put an X over top of here and say, yes, this is where, Chapel dug or whoever. Right.
Yep. So Yeah, I guess it was about 2 or 3 feet overall in the entire tank here you're looking at in this picture here, about 2
So
or 3 feet of
just this
sediment.
limited area, bottom of the solution channel. They
Right.
hoping maybe there's something in there that can
Right. Yeah.
prove we're in
And
the right
it
area.
turns out there was. So
Yeah.
Yeah, Wayne, you're right. I know. I did say that. Why are you stopping at 150 feet?
we
You
have been
got to go
saying that
deeper.
for years. We've been
Yeah.
saying that for years.
Tom and I have both been on top of that one for sure. Saying, and Seth, I think you even piped in on that as well. Why are they stopping so short? Get down there.
You gotta get to 200 feet. We've been saying it for years.
Yeah. Here's the sucker.
We could have saved them millions.
I know. Why don't they just Rick, call me. Seriously. Tom and I are at your disposal. Seth will jump in. We'll all give you some of our pointers.
I don't know. I probably would have added millions with all my speculation. Hey, we should do it over here. Yeah.
Let's do this idea. Well, armchair quarterback, right?
Oh, yeah.
So here's the sucker truck. That's what we always call them, a sucker truck. Anyway, you come over and they suck up all that stuff off the bottom of the tank. And then where does that go? I don't know. Well, they took it somewhere. But you see, as I was mentioning before, look at this money pit. It's empty, gone. Everything's gone. There it is. Oh, look at that. Now, here's the problem I have with this picture. That ain't what was in that tank.
Nope. Not even close.
Ain't no way that was in that tank.
Nope.
Yeah.
So I would have to say that some of this material here was in the last bits of the hammer grab, pulling up stuff off the bottom and putting it in the dump truck. And the dump truck came over here and dumped it. And they never went through it with the wash plant. Why? Right. The wash plant left the island already.
It's gone. Yeah, the red one, the new one is gone. The rented one is gone.
Yeah. I don't know if they had a 3-month rental on it and 3 months came up. Boop. All right, get it out of here. But yeah, it was gone. So that right there was not what was in there. And what did they do with what was in there? Did they already go through it? I would think that they did. You would hope. But let me ask you all in the chat this question and see what you think about this. I'm curious what your answer is to this. If you had that pile of stuff sitting right there, like Tom just said earlier, would you leave it set all winter and not go through it? We'll come back. We'll come back in 7 months. We'll go through it. Not a big deal. It'll be here when we get back. What do you think, Seth? Would you?
No. I'd be pulling an all-nighter. Let's go through all of this, guys.
Yeah. I mean, they kind of need the wash plant, but I don't care. I'd go through it anyway. I'd stay there all winter.
It looks like a lot of backfill.
It does, and that's what bothered me so much.
Yeah, like all the rocks are this. I don't know. It just seemed, backfill. I don't know why I didn't think backfill. I just thought, man, why are all the rocks all the same size?
Yeah.
No big. Yeah, I don't know.
So when they're using the hammer grab, you see the big piles of rocks that they set aside.
They do.
Yeah, the big boulders.
And that's
with drill holes in them.
Yeah, and a bunch of little pieces of wood, right?
Yeah.
Lots of pieces of wood, little pieces.
Look at them. Those rocks have all fit in that suction pipe?
No.
So what is that? Shredded timbers from
I think it's
Positor Searcher, or is it like backfill?
Caisson grinding its way through.
Thank you very much.
Caisson grinding through. Nice. Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
And it sunk to the bottom of the solution channel? Or I guess this is hammer grab material.
This has got to be hammer grab.
Okay.
That's what I think,
yeah. I can't imagine I can't imagine that they that slurry, that's mud that they took out of there would have some more heavy materials underneath it in the bottom, underneath all that muck, I'm sure, which is where they were hoping there was some gold coins or something like that. But and I didn't grab this picture, but do you guys remember, you Tom or Seth, or any of you in the chat, do you remember before the season started and they were promoting the Curse of Oak Island and they showed a picture of the wash plant and there was somebody's hand holding on to a piece of what looked like
lead
or silver that was poured into an ingot. Yeah. a little bar of silver or
Yep.
lead.
No question about it. Yep.
We never saw that. I thought maybe we'd see that last night. I thought, oh, somebody in the Discord, we were on Discord talking. I forget who it was. I'm sorry I didn't mention it. Maybe it was Richard. But one of the guys had mentioned, hey, maybe we're going to see that thing. And I thought, oh, yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
When they were digging through that pile of gray material and Gary reached down and grabbed that thing, and I thought that's what he was going to bring up.
Yeah. Yeah. But it wasn't. So,
nope, not even close.
Yeah, it was it had to be a teaser photo from something else.
No doubt about it. Yep.
They did bring up. Go ahead, Seth.
I was going to say, I had a bad feeling when they did a flashback, or not a flashback, but they like did this long animated segment explaining what a dowel was. That's when I thought, oh goodness, they didn't find anything.
Yeah, I know.
Why? Like, we know what a dowel is. You found many of them.
Several of them.
Yes.
Yeah, good point. I started to my enthusiasm started to wane at that point as well. Good Mark.
So yeah, I wasn't expecting anything here. I thought it was going to be just, but they did find something, so I should be more optimistic.
Mm-hmm. They did go and get Gary over here to go through these as they were spreading. They were scooping up a little bit of it anyway. Just to, I don't know if it was, but he did find a couple things. They did find this piece of broken off tip of a pickaxe. I think they found the other. I don't know if it was the same one, but they had the other one that they had found. That was this one that they found earlier from the spoils of TOT-1. And he was like, oh, I wonder if they could be. I don't think it's the same pick because this one is definitely not encrusted
not encrusted, no.
As bad as this other one here.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I think this one here would be older in my opinion, but again, I'm not a metallurgist, archaeometallurgist. They also found what looked like a piece of chisel, that had, it had a chisel point on one end and then looked like, I don't know.
It does look like a chisel, yeah.
Mm-hmm, definitely looked like some sort of a chisel, not another pickaxe piece. But again, go back to this pile. They're looking through, they were saying, well, this is 200 feet underground. Well, maybe not. We don't know exactly what depth it was taken out of TOT-1 and put into with the hammer grab and put into that pile of stuff. So we're not sure exactly how deep it was, but either way, it's probably below 100 feet. So take that thinking that this should not be down there.
Mm-hmm.
And neither should the other piece. They should not be down there. Going by the history of the searchers and how deep they went.
Remind me when we get to the date on those two things, because I had a thought on them, but I'll wait till we get there.
Okay. All right. So
if I can remember that long.
You will. It'll come up. But here they are again. So that was a significant find. And that they were, because they had them on the table in both the war room meeting with everybody in there, or museum, I should say, meeting with everybody in there, and also in the drilling down. These two pieces were on that table. So it is important to them that they found it this late in the season and that those depths in TOT-1. Again, a shot. You see the red one's gone. The red wash plant's gone. The one they rented. And look at how much of that pile, a third of the pile has been, and it's only metal detected, not gone through the wash plant. So
correct.
They got a lot of work to do on this yet, but I couldn't have left it. I'm sorry. I just couldn't.
No.
Yeah, that's there's a shot from Tom. Yeah, no crane. Red wash plant is gone.
Yep.
So late in the season, and the trees are all trees
are all turned. They must have turned early because that's October. Well, they did turn a bit early last year. Normally, end of September to October is when they start to turn, but they're all well turned there, and that's right around the end of September, 1st of October.
Yep.
But that's not. I mean, they made the comment last night. Oh, the Canadian winter is fast approaching.
Yes.
Well, you don't even unhook the water in your camp for at least another month.
Yeah. Wow.
So I mean, it wasn't that. Might be cold out, but it's not, winter.
Thank you, Tim. Appreciate that. And who the other one? I saw it was Colette. Thank you both very much. I appreciate that to help keep this going. Really do appreciate your help with that.
Tim, to answer your question, let's just do what building builders do, and we just won't call it season 13. We'll just call it season 14.
Yeah, there you go. They skip. Yeah.
Well,
Oh,
just like a building, we won't put a 13th floor.
Yeah. Which when I used to do ghost tours, I would always say, like, that makes no sense to me. Ghosts can count. They know what floor they're on. Call it what you want. It's still the 13th floor.
12A. I like that. Yeah. Well, you know, and will it be the final season? We don't know. We don't know.
I don't know.
Will there be
Depends
a
on what you
season
find. Depends on what you find and when you find it.
Yep, exactly. So yeah. So all right, let's jump over to lot 5. Now, lot 5, it was kind of, again, you're looking at late in the season, everybody's got their jackets and stuff on, and they're over here working. You see the guys show up. They come over, and this is again one of those times where I got a little bit confused. The lot 5 thing under the rock, a nail, they didn't even show us was a downer. Yes, it was. That was another teaser. From
just a square nail, you know.
Yeah, it was a square nail, no biggie. I was really hoping because, you know, again, they showed us, oh, he's reaching under. Oh, there's a, and they didn't even, like you said, they didn't even show us. Craig, thank you very much, sir. Appreciate it. Solution Channel Cash. He's always got a good little description of when he does that. Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
So here they all go over to see what Laird found, and then, you know, of course, he looks at that little opening underneath the rock. And you go back. Remember when Laird was saying, I mentioned this last week, but remember when Laird was sitting there and he was troweling and then he was thumping on the ground and he said, it sounds hollow under here. I was thinking that was it. It wasn't it. Because that was, I believe, that was over here in the top of the screen. And where he actually pulled that out of was right down here in this rock. And I'll show you, you know, I think I got, let me see. Yeah, it was right down here where he pulled that out.
Yep.
In this little V crack down here. I think there was something happening here that they didn't really, I don't know. It seemed weird the way this
I can tell you from chatting with Laird last winter, they still have not determined the total picture of that area.
Yeah. I agree.
They're still working on it. They're still baffled by it.
Yep. Yeah.
Is this going to be the biggest like structure on the island when it's all said and done?
Well, besides the houses that are built there now, yes.
I think so. Yeah, in terms of like, I don't know what
houses or Nolan's house. Yeah, I think so.
It's definitely bigger than Smith's cabin and Ball's cabin.
Oh yeah.
Like, they're huge.
Yeah,
like that's a lot of people using that area.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, you see this rock right here, and this is hit and miss editing. It is, Michelle. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah, you see this rock right here, this flat face on it. That's how I was looking at where he kneeled down, and right here in front of, I think that's that's Marty standing right there with the blue shirt or jacket on.
Many years left to go. Yeah, Coach. I think they could shorten those years. Coach had said many years left to go in lot 5 if they'd like really opened it up to I don't know. I feel like it'd be cool if Dr. Spooner brought more students on, if archaeologists got to have student archaeologists on, because this would be the dream. If something like this existed in Texas and I was an archaeologist student and I got to go participate in solving the mystery of what's on lot 5, like, man, that'd be so cool. Just in terms of moving some of that dirt, you know, because I know it takes so long with a trowel, but man, get 50 kids out there for a month. And
I'd do it. I would do it. You know, but like Laird said, you know, you couldn't have a TV show on archaeology. You know, you'd be digging.
Yeah, you could.
Yeah. You'd be digging for days and not find anything. It'd be like, okay, I'm over this.
It would be cool. It would be cool to have a bunch of people out there. I think their concern is with NDAs and stuff like that.
Yeah. To keep everything under wraps. Yeah, that would be hard to do for sure. Let's see. All right, so let's see. Oh, so they bring over new GPR. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep. That's what they said. I was, going to bring that up, Coach. Thank you very much. But yeah, they talked about GPR and more metal detecting, more precise or something. I forget they used their word to use.
Yeah, they used
the word that they use for Tony or for Gary's scanning of the area, but be more precise or something next year, a lot more detail.
Yep.
They did get him out there, and he went over, oh, let's have him run the thing real quick, the metal detector real quick, his mind labs. And right off the bat, he hits something. Well, we say right off the bat. Fiona digs it up, and then she finds a coin. Well, or is it? Thought it was a coin.
Looked like a coin.
It did. It looked like a coin when
I thought it was a coin.
Yep.
Or a token of some sort. But.
Yeah, when they first brought it up, looked like a coin.
Buttons and beads. Everybody's just dropping buttons and beads. I don't get it. Like, are the buttons falling off clothing, or are the buttons part of valued stuff, or are they just tossed like pottery?
Or both. Or there was a bunch of people in an encampment there, just like soldiers dropping their lead bullets.
Yep.
Uniforms, clothes, whatever stuff gets dropped, lost.
Yep. Yeah, April, you're right. Silver gilded button. They explain later on in the lab when Emma gets a chance to. Well, actually, it wasn't in the lab. It was in here in the museum. It was in the museum that they went through all of that. So, all right. So that pretty much wrapped it up for the money pit. That wrapped it up for the spoils in Smith's Cove. And so far, it's wrapped it up for the season in Lot 5. But as you have seen from what Laird has said, what Fiona has said, what Rick and Marty have said, Lot 5 is still very much on their radar. And so is the swamp. The swamp, that place still holds answers.
I can't believe it's only been 30% explored.
I know.
The amount of time that's spent in there, that they're saying it's only 30%.
Yep. Yeah, 30% explored. That's crazy. Go ahead, Seth.
I was going to say, let's remove the peninsula. Right? How, like the Nolan's Peninsula.
Yeah.
Let's remove it. See what's under it. I know they've done the right. Didn't they do that one scan one year where it was like, here's all the metallic things we're picking up, and on one side of the peninsula it was popping with bright red or whatever, and the other side it was enough. It was a good amount, and they chose that side. We're like, why didn't they do the other side? Yeah. Let's do that other side, and then also get rid of the peninsula. I mean, I know the peninsula helps them reach out into the middle of the swamp, but
yeah, but they can get out there in the swamp now all over the place pretty much.
Nice. Okay.
They used to use that big tracked, the big floating tracked excavator. They haven't even used that lately. They keep
as long as you stay on that east side of the swamp or on the shore of the west side, you can travel up and down. It's when they were trying to travel up and down the middle that they couldn't use the non-floating excavator.
Right. Yeah, exactly. The one with the large tracks on it was really good. So, yeah, I think that's a great idea. That was a magnetometer readings that they were
thank you.
That they saw that big area of red that was showing up just on the south side of Nolan's Peninsula, and then there was something on the north side of it too. But and then they found that ramp going up, or the stone ramp that was going up out of the swamp up into the uplands right there on the north side. So that I don't think was that metal anomaly that they saw, but there was a big one on the south side of the peninsula. So yeah, dig it up. I see it. Maybe Fred knew and he put that over there to cover.
Yeah.
Treasure.
I'd be interested maybe seeing if there'd be any like ox shoes in the material that he pushed out from that side of the swamp. But
yeah, because the road the old path did run right through there. Yep, it absolutely did.
Yeah, Jan. It's man-made. Like, just it's not natural. Let's dig it up.
Right. Well, it does belong to Tom. So I mean, technically, we got to get his permission, but
at least dig a test pit.
Yes.
Yeah, that's good.
Test pit would be good. I like that idea.
And that's what they did with the original stone road down the southeast corner, right? They dug that big square hole in the middle to see if there was anything underneath it.
Right. Yep. Absolutely.
So I have a quick question. I'm sorry if it's too much of a tangent, but it's in the swamp. Have we crossed out the possibility of there being a ship still burned and sunk in the swamp?
I think the team has. I think I have. And I base that a lot on the what was said by Jeremy Church and the Panther Geoscience Seismic Survey when he was on. But I don't know. What do you think, Tom?
If it's there, it's extremely deep. Right?
Good point.
And it had to be long before that swamp started to self-fill in.
Yeah.
because they were out there with the floating excavator and they poked around in that general area
Yeah.
and they didn't find anything.
Right.
Interesting.
But
Yeah. They did the
but
floating
now,
drill.
if they took a barge in there and burned it at this point in time, I think some stuff would have shown up that they're going to find the charcoal or whatever pieces off it. But and those pieces that they've found over the past years, they said were a ship's railing and everything.
Yeah. And they did find a
They-
good amount of charcoal, right?
They probably were ship's railing and parts of a ship and parts of everything else that blew in there from over hundreds of years.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They found a fair amount of charcoal up the east side. I know that.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right, Tony. Yeah, the permit. You can't get a permit to do anything out there in the water, unfortunately.
No,
I wish that would not.
You can't even touch it. You can look at it, but you can't
You
touch
can
it.
wave your hand over it and to get the silt off or the
Yep.
whatever, and that's all you can do.
Cannot
You can
touch
take a picture and then go, "Oh, look at that! There's a."
Well, look at that series that's on now, the Death Coast that we're watching there. That Dr. Taylor's in. Those guys, received special permission to go down up off of Cape Breton, and they have special permission that they can actually remove stuff.
Right.
And that's part of why
That would be very unique.
it's part of why the archaeologist is needed, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yep.
Exactly. All right, let's do the giveaway. We do have a giveaway. I didn't bring this up at the beginning. We do have a giveaway tonight. This is for the season finale. Everyone was eligible for this one.
Well, everybody, but
Yeah. Well, not everybody. I didn't get that. Oh, I already have one of those hats. Oh, I got one.
I can name 3 guys.
Yeah. So
I wasn't supposed to sign up. No. I'm kidding.
Yeah.
I didn't sign
I don't think there's any need. Oh, you got that Sempre Avante.
Yeah.
Yes, you do. Look at that. You have one.
Sempre Avanti.
Wow.
All right. Thank you, Jess.
Yeah. So Linda, when you're ready, you can pop in here and tell us all about it. I know she wasn't quite ready for this. She didn't know when I was going to do this. I'll have her come on and hi and explain what we got here.
I think you're getting the look.
I have no idea what's going on. Ever. You guys are not going to believe this. I don't know if you can see this or not, but can you see all those names?
Oh my gosh.
Make the screen bigger here.
Crazy. It's like the whole wheel is almost black.
Yep. All right. So tell us what we got here.
We have one of Rick's necklaces from Jan Anderson. Rick picks up stones, little rocks and stones on the island and polishes them, cuts them, whatever needs to be done. And then he has someone who puts the bail on it that actually says Oak Island on it.
Oh, yeah.
And they sell those for charity. There are a few at the treasure shop right now. I noticed in a picture from their website. It is a Rick Rock. Sempre Avanti is it's from me, but Jess Grollo made that. And Jeff's hat, of course, is from Jeff.
Yep. And just so you know, I saw somebody say I would love a J Free hat. Don't own one yet. Well, chances are there will be some available at Oak Island Con 2025.
Oak Island Con.
Do you have some on your website?
Yes,
Jeff?
I do. Yes. If you
go to jfree906.com, you could buy one there.
You go to there's the merchandise hit thing. You click on that and you can see them and all the prices and everything, and I will get it shipped out for you. I do have a black and white one left, like that one right there. I have a black front, white back, and then all black, and then there's some cloth ones. There's some different ones in there you can choose.
They're good hats too. They're my favorite.
I'm wearing my Tony Sampson hat tonight because you know he was supposed to.
Tony.
All right, are we ready? No need to tell everybody how to get eligible because it's all done for now.
It is done for this year
until November. This season, yeah, and then November we'll get it all fired up again, and we'll go through the whole.
We will, and several people have already sent me things for next year, so we're just gonna really hope that we're doing this again next year.
Yep. Yeah.
Based on the drilling down last night, if the guys have their say, it's going to happen.
It's going to happen.
I don't know that we'll have 25 episodes.
No.
Yeah, who knows? It might be a strange.
That just means we have bigger prizes.
All right, here we go. Are we ready?
Will that be even names?
Will that be even spin with so many names on it?
I don't know. honestly.
You broke the
go.
wheel.
Oh, yeah, there are a lot of them coming. Oh,
Wow. Gail
Richards. Gail Richards, are you here? Let us know you're here. You must be present to win. So, Gail, let us know real quick if you can. We'll give her about a minute to jump in and say she's here.
A name I recognize for sure. But
Tim, I really don't have any word on that at all. It's going to Jeff, not to me.
I'm so
you're
sorry.
going to have to just check with Jeff.
Gail is here. I'm here. I see the.
Congrats, Gail.
there you go.
All right.
The
good
big
deal.
season finale winner.
Woohoo. All right.
Yep.
Hang in there, Tim. I mean, I got some different ones here, and it's not the color you wanted. That's all. I've got other ones if you want to, you know.
If you just let us pick for you, we can get you taken care of much
Do you
more
want one with the
quickly.
Bluetooth in it or not? There's some of them have Bluetooth speaker in the bottom of them. Those are kind of cool.
Mine does. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. See. So yeah. Anyway, Tim, I'm so sorry, but yes.
You just turn it up as people are talking to you that you don't want to talk to, and you're what? I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
I can't hear you.
This music's so loud. Where's it coming from?
Any color, he says. All right, Tim, I'll get that on the way for you.
Okay.
All right.
Gail, do I have your address? Have you ever won before? If not, send me a private message with your address and I will get this out to you probably Friday.
Cool.
Cool.
All right.
Thanks, guys.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Yeah, thank you. I won last year, she says. Oh, wow. Was that at the finale you won last year? That's funny. That's pretty cool. All right, you ready to continue on?
Let's go.
All right, let's jump over to the Oak Island Museum. And it is now, see, they got it right this time. They didn't say the
Interpretive Center.
Interpretive Center again this time. They actually said the museum.
Mm.
You see everybody filing in there for the last time of the season. And that's kind of cool, the table in there.
Yeah, I want me one of those.
It's a big tablecloth. It looks like, I thought they had done it on the table, but you can see it's some sort of a tablecloth. That's cool. Oak Island there. And then they got all these artifacts. I wanted so badly to start just seeing if I could get every single thing looked at here, but most of these things are things we found or they found during the season that they showed us, but some of them are not.
Oh.
Yeah, like a risk board. That's funny. I like that. Yeah. So, you look at these things and you see there's a few things that I noted on here that I had never seen before. But yeah, you can kind of zoom in on a few things. There was William coin.
Yeah, I saw that. William coin. And what was the other
farthing
one?
from
Farthing or
1672?
farthing? Yeah, farthing. Yeah, what the heck was that?
A farthing. It's I don't know. What is a farthing? Like a dime?
I meant to look it up today, but I didn't have a chance.
Yeah. It says pre-17.
Farthing. Oh, okay, I was reading.
Yeah, here's another one from 1694. And a pipe stem and a small military button. It's an English coin. Yep. I kind of figured it was an English coin, but I don't know what it's worth or whatever. The smallest British coin of old. Okay. But yeah, so some really cool stuff on that table. I mean, Linda said something about me wearing my fingers out trying to get snapshots of all this.
Yeah, I wonder if that's stuff that they found sort of at the top layer, you know what I mean? That could have just been dropped over the many, many years, as opposed to things they're finding down 3 and 4 feet deep.
Yeah. Yep. Then we had the glass bead.
Yeah. Why wasn't that in the pre-1760 section?
Yeah, I don't know.
It was found in lot 5, wasn't it?
Yes. Yep.
Suspicious.
Yeah. Unless they reclassified it later.
Well, unless they say it's not a glass bead made in Norway, Sweden, that area.
Well, here's what they had said about it initially.
That's the history on it.
Yeah.
So I'm just wondering if it didn't quite fit the 1760.
Approximately 1,000 to 1,700.
narrative. Yeah. And it's Viking connection related.
Monetary unit of
as opposed to the current storyline.
Withdrawn in 1961, equal to a quarter of an old penny. Wow. A quarter of a penny. Yeah. All right. So yeah, that was kind of curious about that thing there. And then do you see here what it says? The coin that is not a coin, it's now a button.
Mhm.
Now a button. But yeah, that was the lot 5 little thing that is actually this one in the
Wasn't
upper
the note
right
on the
hand.
bag said use gloves or something?
Yeah, it did. It says use gloves on. Well, maybe that was
Heads or
before
tails?
they did all the before they did all the testing on it, maybe or something. I guess I don't know. But yeah, so everybody thought it was a coin until they really got a looking at it with the metallurgy and found out that did a scan of it with the. I never mind. I was going to go into the machines. Yeah, we've heard enough.
No.
But it did have a where the little clasp, or not the clasp, but the little button on the back, the little. I'm at a loss for the name. The little thing you sew it on with, the little thing on the back, was gone. It was simply knocked her completely off from it, so they didn't know it was a button. That's a big button, I thought. That's a huge button. I mean, you've seen it in her hand, how big it was. It was like taking up the whole palm of her hand. It's like, that's a huge button.
Maybe it was
The shank?
decorative.
Yeah, maybe the shank. That might be it. Yeah.
Maybe it could have been decorative too, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Because
Very
it had
true.
silver gilding on it.
Yeah. So there you go. It probably was a decorative button. Yeah. And the wizard, that's not a barter token.
Barter token, yeah.
Oh, I cringe every time they say that.
Yep.
And the other button that does not look like the thing on the wall in Malta.
Not even in the same atmosphere, no. Hemisphere.
So we went through some of those different pieces. It was really cool to have some of them talk about the certain things that they went through over the course of the year, and the 500 and some boreholes that were dug or put in the Money Pit area. Some 500 boreholes. I got a picture of that coming up. But this road right here. Now, you know what? They traced this out over the course of, and I'm going to spend a couple minutes here talking about the swamp for a second. But they traced out this road. Now, we know that they traced out the road from the southeast corner of the swamp all the way up when Dr. Aaron Taylor was on the show. And they were going through this pathway that went all the way up towards the top of lot 10, or the northern bog in the swamp. And then they said, well, it looks like it's turning and heading towards the west, towards lot 5. Now, does that make sense? Thank you, Tim Madsen. Thank you very much. I appreciate that, sir. Really do appreciate that. It helps a lot. I think they're right, because if they had an encampment on lot 10, on lot 5, and everybody was working in the Money Pit area, makes sense to have that road through there, doesn't it? You're muted, Tom. Can't hear you.
Yeah. What's not shown is another one of the roads going towards the pine tar kiln,
right?
Pine tar kiln. So, who knows how many other offshoots this road has.
Yep.
I would,
go ahead.
Well, it makes sense that you're going to come down from the Muddy Pit. You're going to go to the lowest point. If you're trying to maintain any form of secrecy, you're not going to go across the top of the hill where everybody can see you. You're going to go down the hill, go across your lowest point, which is going to be the lowest levelest point, which is going to be the east side of the swamp. And when you're going to cross the swamp to the western drumlin, you're going to use the narrowest spot, which is where they were working in the north part of the swamp. I mean,
right.
It's
right. And probably go ahead.
But the trick is, it was done by different people over hundreds of years.
Yes, that's the other part.
That's the mystery.
It is.
It wasn't done by one crew.
No, and most of the things that they found on the path were all dated in the 1600s. So who actually did the path? Now, this is where we get this whole thing gets very, very confusing. And Corian's going to help to try to put some of this into perspective for us next Wednesday night when we have Corian back on the show. For those of you who didn't hear that, Corian's going to be back. Corian Mole's going to be back, and he's got some new information about the whole bloodline of Oak Island, the Malta people of Malta, the Knights of Malta, the Hospitallers. He's going to have some more stuff to share with us next Wednesday. But when you're talking about that mid 1600 time frame, who would that involve? couple possibilities. You do have the Knights of Malta. You also have Phipps and his crew.
Yep. You've got the Knights Malta. You got Phipps. You've got Portuguese. 1550. We know they were in the area, so they never stopped coming back. You get the British and the French. Early 1600s were all over the Maritimes fighting for land. So you've got the Knights of Malta, Portuguese, the British or the Americans at the time, colonists, Phipps.
Right. Yep.
You've got the Scottish, Jim McQuiston, 1632.
Yep.
Right? Knights Templar or Masons. Right? You've got the British and the French, who we know from historical records and artifacts were all over the place. So that one thing might be 2 or 3 things that give you that one thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So they were all here. So it's going to be really interesting to hear what Corian says next week.
Yeah, for sure.
How his all fits in here. We know how the other guys tell us that their research fits in. So it's going to be interesting to see how Corian's fits in.
Yeah, exactly. So, and they talked about one of the things that he talked about. When I say he, I'm talking about Steve Guptill. When he was going through his explanation of things, he mentioned that the date range of the stuff in the swamp, goes from 1200 all the way up to the early or mid 1700s. So, I mean, does that muddy the water? Yeah, kind of. But it also, does it say who might have started it and who came back later? Knowing that the information was passed along. So keep that in mind, because
you can't rule out, and that's where you bring in people like Doug Simmons. Right, with the Vikings connections to Newfoundland. That's where the green bead comes from. That's where they're made.
Right.
Where did the things that they found in Newfoundland, like the butternuts and the vines, in Lawrence Meadows, where did they come from? Well, they came from New Brunswick or maybe even Maine.
Right.
So there's a connection to be made there. It's a matter of, like I say, it's not going to just be one. They might find one thing, but it could be 2 or 3 things that actually solves the puzzle.
Yeah, I think so. I think you're right. So I mean, we mentioned that before, that maybe all these researchers, Gretchen included, I've seen her in the chat earlier, but all of these researchers that have come to the table with this, with their research data, all of them could be partially correct in this, or have a stake in this, so it's very interesting. It's still this season. That's one of the great things that I took from this season, was the fact that, we're getting closer and closer, I believe, to narrowing down the who, not maybe the what they did or well, maybe why even, but the who. I think we're getting so very close to nailing that down. Go ahead, Seth.
Oh, I was just gonna I think of it like how this season they really talked about how, like, okay, it's not just the money pit or even just the swamp. It's the whole island that we're looking
good
at.
point.
And so it's that way with researchers. It's not just one generation. It's not just one group or one, specific time frame. It's all of them. It's all the researchers, all the books, because like you said, they're all right. And you have to have that bird's eye view. And then hindsight too, right? Like now we're so far along now, we can go back and go, oh dang, wow, like they were onto something like this. Zena's map is, correct and hard to refute, but
it is, because the more they look at it, the more they go through stuff on the island, they find it matches their map.
Yeah, so I feel like the road is so important, because it for me, it shows like Europeans aren't going to do that much work for nothing. In secret for that many generations, so it doesn't does it muddy the water? Maybe, if you're trying to just pick one person to say here's who did it, but so it's like you said, we're going to find out the who. I would say the who's.
Yeah. I think you're right. I think somebody may have come and explored and done something in the 1300 time frame, and I think others were back later on that knew about it and were following up or going there for a purpose, but they knew about it. So
absolutely, I
think it's an ongoing story of many peoples coming there that all had a stake in this, So, Yeah. Yeah. There's Gretchen, Tom, Jeff, and Seth. Yes, there are so many researchers within the OI community. Yes, there is. And you all could be correct in some way.
Yep.
For sure. So,
And when you talk about, Gretchen's work, right? We shouldn't have skipped over Gretchen too. When you talk about finding copper artifacts, right? Things made of copper, things medieval made of copper, right? Who were supposedly in the area that were going up around the Maritimes, up in through northern New Brunswick and through the Gulf of St. Lawrence into Ontario and mining copper. Right. So
yeah,
Gretchen's in the mix too.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, we know that up there in the Keweenaw Peninsula of the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, was that area is the most pure copper anywhere in the world, and they've mined it. They mined it for many, many years, but yeah. So yeah, there's still, I mean, we're getting so close, and that's one of the good things I said about this season. So quickly they showed Emma, looking at a couple of different things here. She was looking at that the chisel. Sorry. And she was also looking at that broken pickaxe piece, and she did some explaining about both of those pieces. Let's see. I think that we're getting same time frame, early 1600s to mid 1700s on both of these pieces.
Okay, here's why that pick head point is important, at least to me.
Go ahead.
All the stuff they pull up from the swamp or any place else is beat up, it's broken. Trees, they date them. We say, oh, when did they cut the tree down? Yeah, we know when the tree was cut down, but it was at 30 years old, 40 years old, 50 years old when it was actually lost or placed or put in the money pit. Okay. If that point off that pickaxe dates to 1675, okay, that's new. It's not beat up. It's not broken. Right. It's not dented. It's not smashed. It's not, the piece they had before, the metal was curled from being used and beaten so much. So it was broken when it was new.
Yeah.
And it was lost when it was new.
Yeah.
So to me, that makes the date range of when it was made even more important, because it wasn't used for 50 years, made in 1675, used for 50 years and dropped in 1725.
Correct.
Right. If it was made in 1650, right, it would have been dropped in 1650 because that's when it was broken. It's undamaged. It's unblemished.
That's a very good point. Thank you, Tom. Yeah, I agree. That you don't find things like that old, that are that good a shape.
If it had been used for drilling or mining or anything else, it would have, the point would be broken. It would, it would be beat up, and it's not beat up.
Yep. So many things in that date range. So many things in that date range. And would that be withdrawal from the bank?
Or deposit?
Or deposit? I don't know. Or another deposit. The pipe stem. Again, we covered that pipe stem a little bit, and that was one of Laird's biggest things that he found that he really, really enjoyed, because I think that one was, let's see, what did I wrote that down on that? 1680 to 1710. Again, same in range. Just too many things like that. And this was what Steve was showing. When we said 500 some odd boreholes that were put into Oak Island, I think that's total. I don't think that's this season. I think that's total. You're muted again, Tom. If you're
dogs running around me here, dogs are going crazy.
That's all right.
Anyway, that's over years and years and years. There's no way you could drill 600 holes in a summer.
Yeah,
that's not happening.
Yeah, now when it takes a day and a half to do a per hole. So yeah, there you go. So I saw somebody mention that earlier on. So that's over. That's total time frame. And
to Bill's comment there, pipe stems are more common than you think. Yeah, their pipe stems are a dime a dozen.
Oh yeah.
You can't go anywhere around the shore or a wharf and not find them. Yep.
Yeah, that was disposable.
They're disposable. Yeah, just like throwing your cigarette butt out the
car window. I had no idea that that's the way they came with tobacco already in it. So you smoke the tobacco and then you throw the pipe away. Go get another one. I had no idea. Not until actually, you know who actually taught me that? Tony Sampson.
Yep.
He's the one that told me about that. I had no idea. When I was on his boat tour, he was explaining all that because he has pieces of them. He's found pieces too, and he was talking about that.
Well, they shipped them over. They shipped them around in barrels or something, didn't they? Or kegs or
Yes,
whatever.
yeah, kegs. They sent them in kegs. They were in kegs. Isn't that crazy? Yeah. 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 Swiss cheese. Why the can fell? Yeah, I agree, April. Here's a shot of the solution channel. Now let's jump on the solution channel. We'll spend a couple minutes on this, and this solution channel. I think this is like we were mentioning at the beginning of the show tonight. We were talking about the fact that we've said to them, so for a couple of years now, you're not going deep enough. You're only going down as far as the researchers.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they got down to the 90-foot stone, the original guys, and then what? Everybody thought that the treasure is only at 100 feet. You know, and so it's now. It could have been, I guess, at one point, but now they feel that it's down in the solution channel. Now, some people might ask, is that possible? And I say, yes, it is very possible. Especially with all the caissons, especially with all the drilling. There have been quite a few drills that have gone down into the bedrock. We have samples of that. I've got one on the counter behind me, a piece of the bedrock from one of the boreholes that went down through there. So they poked a bunch of holes in this thing. If they've been putting this caisson went down that deep, and the bottom, you know, and they talked about the bottom falling out of, what was it, TB1? I think it was TB1. They said the bottom fell out, or was that Aladdin's? You're muted again, Tom.
TB1.
Yeah, TB1's where they had to put all the extra soil in. That's when they had to say, no, we got to fill this in and get out of here. Yep.
Where else could all of that material go? You think about that, folks. That's a lot of material. Where else could it possibly go except into a large cavity down below?
Mm-hmm.
And that's why they're talking about the solution channel now. And I think it's quite possible that that's where it could have gone. Here's one that Tom put up there. So you're talking about what, 896 square feet?
Yeah, if you just take a rough, if each one of those blocks is 2.5 feet, which is about, I think, what they are. So if you do the rough measurements, you're talking 800 or 900, square feet across the top of that. They're talking about using an 8-foot caisson. So an 8-foot caisson, 8-foot circle has a area of about 50 square feet, right?
Mm-hmm.
So to fill that area in, you're talking about using, at least 18 or 20 caissons, right? So you're not going to, and then they talk about this honeycomb method. Well, 18 or 20 caissons times, 10 pieces, right? That's 200. There's no way you're going to bring in 200 caissons there to continue to fill that whole thing full of caissons. So what method they would use to do it, I don't know, but it's a lot of drilling.
It is a lot of drilling. And and
how much trouble they had putting down 6 this summer.
Yep.
Absolutely. Put down 3 times that many just to do that area.
That's crazy. I don't know how it can happen. Coach made the comment here. There's still there's the gold and silver content coming up in the water, so it's still high. So yeah, and even though they've added so much water to the thing, to this area, which I think diluted it in the baby blob area. I think that's what happened.
Oh yeah, no question.
Here they're showing the depth of what they think the solution channel is. You're talking 205 to basically 220 feet deep in different areas. That's what all these little circles here are. And those are, I don't know what they're basing that on. Drilling, I guess. That would have to be drilling where they've come up with this. Would have to ask Steve Guptill at some point about that. But here's where the caisson, they said they've had 4 caissons that have hit the bedrock. And it was these 4 right here. TOT-1. This is one of the 10 footers. And I don't know which one, RF1. I don't know if that's RF1. And then one of the original 5, which I think was C1. Didn't C1 hit the bedrock? I thought C1 did hit bedrock at the top of the bedrock. Yeah. And then this is one of the, so you got one of the 5 footers, then you got one of the 6 footers, and then a 7, then a 10 footer. They've all, 4 of them have come to the top of the bedrock.
And like Steve says, keep in mind that the bedrock is not
totally it's not flat.
It
changes and yep. Now, Here's what somebody had mentioned earlier about Jeremy Church and Panther Geoscience. And this is why, and I reached out to him and I said, what do you think about all this that's going on in these last couple of episodes here? What do you think about all this? And his answer was, I kind of told him about this a long time ago because his pictures, his seismic study that he did in the money pit told them that there was a natural cavity or cave underground at those depths.
Mm-hmm.
That's why he was telling them. And he said, and if you remember this is one of the pictures from that he was showing. This is the cavity down below.
Yep.
Now he has it a little bit higher than 205 feet, but it's the same cavity. And then they took us into it. And then he said this. So this is how that whole thing happened. Imagine this overburden, which is mostly clay, but imagine that you are drilling or putting in a caisson. I know I didn't get my pointer thing up, so here you got there my mouse if you can see it. In this first picture, it says overburden, mostly clay. Then you got the bedrock. If you start cracking these holes into that bedrock and you reach into this cavity, look what's happening over here is all this is how you get these sinkholes.
Mm-hmm.
And all this material is slowly but surely falling into that cavity down below, that solution channel. And then eventually the top falls out and now you have a sinkhole, i.e. the cave-in pit. That's what he was talking about. Now, if that cavity down there is as big as he was saying it is, that can take a lot of material down there, can it not?
Well, we know it can take hundreds of tons.
Hundreds of tons of material going down into that thing.
Yep.
So I think that they need to be on the phone with Jeremy Church and Burton Cosgrove.
Yep.
And get those guys back out there to help them with this detail a little bit. Now and it makes you wonder about all this too. Is the flood tunnels? Are the flood tunnels? I still believe the flood tunnels were real because they found some evidence of them in Smith's Cove. But now I think the fact with all the drilling that has gone down and some of it going down into the solution channel, therefore they knew the solution channel was even there, plus the survey that was done, they've poked so many holes into that. I don't know if all that whole area is not completely degraded.
It could be compromised. The other thing too is that through 400 or 500 years of natural erosion, what they thought they were leaving treasure on, bedrock, has been naturally eroded and it's collapsed on its own.
Mm-hmm. Do you remember the picture of all the cavities from Smith's Cove to the Money Pit area that Jeremy Church showed us?
Yes.
That picture horrified me because I thought there's no way to control the water. Even if they found the flood tunnel, which I now doubt even existed, even if they found it, there's no shutting off the water.
I don't think there's any way to.
And then when he showed us the extent of the cave system, I kind of thought the same thing of like, this treasure has been scattered throughout this whole dang channel. Mm-hmm. So really his stuff was it was cool, but at the same time in my mind, it was really scary because I thought, man, if the treasure's been broken up, the vault, if there's not a vault and if there's not a side cavity cave chamber, then this treasure's just scattered everywhere. Mm-hmm. I guess my question would be for Ian Spooner would be, can you get the type of readings you're getting if that gold and silver isn't concentrated, but if it's spread out?
Over time, go ahead.
The other thing to keep in mind too is when you're speaking of Dr. Spooner, remember I'm going to call it the Thunder Lake sound he heard standing over the borehole last year?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Was that another collapse going on?
Yeah. I think so. I think so. I think it was. So, yeah, that could very well,
I would give up on the Money Pit if not for Spooner's readings
Yes.
of actual, okay, we know there's gold still. And if the soil connection from
Yep.
other spots on the island to the money pit,
Yep.
to me, okay, well, they were doing all those things and all these other works. The people who built the road, the people who were on lot 5, who put these boulders, moved them around. We know they were at depths in the money pit area. So what were they there for? If not for the soil and the gold readings, I'd be like, there's nothing in the money pit, guys. It's a distraction. We've been conned.
We've been conned.
And it still could be an extremely elaborate distraction.
Yeah, it could.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We haven't
I
got
mean,
the one
But
thing
where's
yet.
the gold?
We haven't
coming
got the
from?
one thing yet.
Yeah, I know.
I
Where's
think-
gold and silver content? That's what
I
keeps
think the
running.
one thing was underneath TB1
Could be.
Might have been.
when,
It might have been. TB1 might have been right on top of the money pit. But okay, so let's move along here. There is this here. This is one that Tom made. This is talking about the size of it. We were talking about how much material could be now down in the solution channel, filling it up. In Ladden Cave.
Steve mentioned it was 80 square feet down there that they hadn't explored. And I can remember talking to him a couple of years ago. And he said there's still places down there you can put a small car.
Mm-hmm.
So that's just him saying the same thing again, 2 years later.
Yep.
But if you look at those dimensions there, I just said, okay, is there still room for a dump truck load of silver?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so there's your basically your 3 most common dump trucks there, and how many square feet would be contained within a dump truck? The size of the box on the dump truck.
Right.
40 square feet, 52 square feet, 63 square feet. So is there room for a dump truck full of silver down there? Yes, there still is.
Uh-huh. Yeah, there still is. Yep.
Room for a couple loads if they're only small trucks.
Yep. I like this that Rick was talking about. It's either a big dig or you'd have to come at it with a tunnel. But it's doable.
Yeah. I would love to see the logistics on that.
Yeah, me too. But you know what scares me? And this is what Seth was saying. Go ahead, Seth.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, can you say 10X? They were talking about going down 230 feet.
Yep.
How deep is 10X?
235.
235. And is it possible that 10X is tied into the solution channel?
Absolutely. Why not?
Yes, it is.
And keep in mind, too, 10X is down 235 feet. But when you think about the elevation of 10X over the existing money, right, it's 8 to 10, I'll say 10 feet above the existing, what we call the deck for the existing money pit,
right,
where they do their work. So it only makes sense it would have to appear to be further down.
Correct.
It could actually be at 225 or 230 feet.
Yeah, exactly. And they said that the solution channel, the depths of it in parts of the deeper parts are 222 feet deep.
Yep. So there you go.
And that's from the money pit level, not from the 10X level. So
correct.
So is 10X in the solution channel? I believe it is. I can't see this happening. I just cannot see this happening. With the idea that the money pit is so compromised with all the caissons and all the drilling and stuff that's done, and you're talking about the size of a solution channel that's underneath there, that it's already compromised. You start poking holes in it like this, you could see you talk about a collapse of a single caisson going down. Can you imagine a collapse of 10, 15 caissons?
Yeah, you're going to have to.
I don't know how
there's no way you do that. Number one, logistically, you're going to need literally hundreds of sections of caisson.
Nobody has that many.
Nobody has it. And if you had them on the island, where would you put them? If you had them in Nova Scotia, where would you put them?
Yeah.
There's not enough room to pile them all up.
You'd fill the whole island up, piling up the stairs until you were able to.
Well, you'd sink it on one end.
And you couldn't put them. You can't put the crane pad over top of. You'd be backing up the whole time, and you'd be in the woods by the time you're doing the last guy. Yeah, I just don't see it happening.
To me, you'd have to do like row 1, right? And then do row 2.
Yeah.
Backfill row 1. Make your next row 3 would actually become your next row 2. Sort of step it along that way. But I have no idea logistically how you'd ever pull that off.
I don't either. That's why I think I agree. I agree with this right here. And I'm sorry, I don't know how to pronounce your first name. Giselle?
Giselle.
Giselle? Thank you, Tom. Freezing. I think that's really, or tunneling with a boring machine is really about the only way I think you're going to pull this off. But remember, no matter what you do, you have, and I did a video on this. No matter what you do to get down there, you're going to have to deal with the water.
Correct.
It doesn't matter how you go at this, freezing or any other way. You've got to deal with the water.
Yep. So talk about the tunnel. I mean, you can go in there with the what do they call it? The concrete blaster or whatever they call it, where they do it all the time. They drill tunnels and they shoot concrete all around the tunnel as they go.
Yep.
But the problem that they would have, in my opinion, and they'd probably do it on an angle, which is not a big deal. I don't think you try and go in flat. You're going to have to go at an angle. If you're going to go down 200 feet, you're going to have to go down.
Yeah.
The same as Duke Donvie and those guys did. They had to go on an angle to get up to the shore if they were going to go down deep.
Yep.
But I think the problem you're going to run into is it's the same problem they had in the garden shaft. When you run into that vertical line of water that they ran into, similar to the garden shaft, the logistical problem that they have in trying to, they can support the garden shaft. They can put supports down there to support it, keep it from collapsing. The problem that they have is the water flow is so high that they have no place to put the water until they get it stopped. So they can't drain it. They have to, because that's technically, groundwater, seawater, you want to call it, but they just can't pump it back into the ocean.
Right.
They have to pump it someplace to be monitored, stored, and then, whatever done with it.
Let it seep into the ground.
Whatever. But the problem is, while you could pump it out, they have no place to pump it to.
Right.
Yeah. Hold it.
And that's a lot
of water
in there.
So the logistics of the water problem would be something you'd have to solve.
Yep. Yeah.
But the tunnel, the tunnel makes, total sense. But if
they hit the water,
you better be sure you're on the money.
You punch into a cave that's flooded with water with a tunneling. The
tunnel is you could be shooting. You could wind up shooting underneath the treasure, right?
Yeah.
Or go over top of the treasure.
Yeah. I don't know of a machine that could put in a really big Caisson that big, Gemini 70. I don't know. You'd have to be a big one because I don't know. You don't want to miss it.
Well, how big was I'd missed the comment.
And you put it, well, I don't know. So just said a really big Caisson.
Yeah, what about a really big Caisson?
A 30-foot diameter Caisson?
No way to turn it.
Yeah, no way to turn something that big. I don't know.
No.
Yeah, 10 foot is the biggest rocket panel.
We asked one time, and I think they do have Caissons that come in that you have to assemble them. And they're in that 15-foot range.
Yeah.
But I don't think you're ever going to get anything, 40 feet across, so to speak.
Yeah.
I mean, there's like a ship in the Gulf of Mexico here in the Texas Bay or, off Texas coast where they brought up LaSalle's ship and they put dams around it. And it's, and they were able to keep out seawater and do a full archaeological dig and raise that thing up. And now it's in a museum in Austin. You can walk over it's class 4. It's really cool. So can they not do that in ground? Like be just, one metal sheet at a time and
look
just
what they did in Smith's Cove.
Yeah. Can they do that in the ground or
you can block out then to me, they still run into that same old problem. When the water comes in, what are you going to do with it?
Well, I mean, you block it all out with this end ground coffer dam.
If you can get it shut off in time.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
it's going to be full of water, I guess.
That's the problem with the garden shaft.
Yeah.
Right? Until the amount of time it would take them to seal and block that hole, the amount of water that they would have to pump, they have no place to put it until they can manage the water problem at the bottom. But to your point, you could keep driving those pilings down there and hopefully block off water.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean,
and it's been done. I mean, they do it in the middle of rivers, right?
They do it in the middle of a river to build a bridge.
Yeah.
I mean, there has to be a way to do it, and they've got to come up with a better solution and one that's going to be able to deal with this water because that's the only way they're going to get down there. And somebody made it. It's so depressing. You think about that. Well, yeah, it is, but imagine how they feel. That's something that Marty said at the end of the show, and that was one of the things that I came up with too, was the fact that you heard me talk for several episodes, folks, about how I kept asking the question, how in the world, I lost my train of thought. Uh,
It's your world. You tell us.
I know, right? Well, you know, it gets so depressing when you think about how they're going to get down there,
Yeah.
and they have to deal with all this water and everything too. I just don't. It's
Well,
amazing.
engineers have been dealing with this stuff for centuries, so
Yeah.
I would leave it to much wiser minds than mine.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I don't know, but anyway, so they continued on, but I was thinking about the thing that I carried away from this this season too. One of the big things that I carried away from the season was something that Marty had said. Now we jump over to the mystery deepens and drilling down for just a moment. They met up in the war room, and you have the guys there talking with Matty Blake and kind of going over the season a little bit. Um, you know, one of my big takeaways. Oh, this is what I was saying about talking about this caisson. That's where I was going. The caisson that was left in the ground, and I kept saying, why did they leave it in there? There's got to be a good reason why they left it in there. We did not get that answer on the show last night, or did we? Or did we? At first, I walked away thinking we didn't get the answer to that question. Why did they leave that caisson in the ground? And I think that we finally did get the answer to that, and the answer was given by Marty. If I'm reading this correct, I think Marty gave us the answer, and he said this, and I'm going to quote him here: "We put an X marks the spot in the money pit."
I heard him say that. Yes.
We put an X marks the spot in the money pit. Is
Mhm.
that why that caisson is still there? Because he
It could
feels
well be.
that's the X.
Because they established in my mind, they established last summer and last fall firmly the location of things that they've always been guessing about.
Yep, I think
know,
that's right.
We've found the shafts, we've found the tunnels, right? We positively identified these are where we think they are. It's not standing up on top, and looking, at the stars and the moon and going, well, I think it's over there.
Right.
Right. They've actually put a caisson in the ground. They've hauled up the materials, and they're satisfied that the materials that they've hauled up confirms the location of those key marking points.
Yeah, and maybe they've been doing water testing too. That really
We don't know.
like
Yeah,
might
we don't know.
be exactly where they're thinking it should be.
Yep.
That's exciting. I didn't catch that. I rewatched the show, but I didn't have enough
Mhm.
time to rewatch the
Yeah.
drilling
Yeah.
down.
That's
No,
what he said.
I recall him saying that. Yeah.
Yep. And that's a quote. I would listen to it a couple of
Yeah.
times so I could write it down exactly the way he said it. So we put an
X
X marks the
the
spot. So
spot.
they
All
know
right.
where to go. And I think that's why they left that caisson there, because if it does enter the solution channel and everybody feels that the treasure is now in the solution channel, then leave that caisson there, because that's your access.
That's the one place it can be.
Yeah. Otherwise, you got to fill it full of backfill, and you're going to fill up the area that you're trying to find out, get into in the first place. Okay. So that's my take on it.
Mhm.
That would explain those smiles that they wore when they Make-A-Wish Foundation at the shop. Oh, yeah. I wasn't there for that. Yeah, Kat was there. She saw them, how they were all so happy about the season and where they're going with it. All right. Now, folks, too, one of the things that I get a lot of times, people always talk about the island, and you get the naysayers, the ones that are out there going, oh, they're just doing this for the money. They could care less about all this. No, I totally 100% disagree with that. I think these guys know exactly. You got and I've said this before, the difference between the production and the TV show and the people on the island doing the work. That's why most of the people on the island doing the work don't watch the TV show. Correct. Because often it goes in a different narrative direction than what the guys on the island are doing.
Mm-hmm.
And it gets them a little bit frustrated. So they will keep going at this. That Rick will, until he has the answers that he's looking for. But here's one of the things that I got, and this is I got from, and I made a little video, and I have to be very careful because I'm, and I had to cut this up into a couple of different pieces. And the reason for that is because I can, I had to be careful about using pictures and stuff that I do for the show. And I'm, we do this in a good light. We're trying to help the show because I believe in what the guys are doing. And that's why I do these things. But, and the whole reason for Oak Island Con and all of that. But I'm going to play this little piece here. And now there is like 3 different sections to it. So bear with the little black spots that come up in here. But this, if this doesn't tell you how they feel, and I believe this is how they feel, then I don't know what to say to the people that are watching. We are important to them. And it's not just because, you know, they're not out here trying to just make money. They're trying to get this done. And I'll talk a little bit more about this at the end of this little. This was from last night's drilling down. So bear with me as we play this here. Hopefully you can hear it okay. Okay, why can't I? Oh, it's muted. That's why. All right, here we go. Let me back that up.
Can you speak directly to the fans? Is there any last thing you want to say to them as you finish this 12th season of this incredible journey?
Okay, bear with these dark spots.
A big thank you and appreciation for them tuning in all these years.
Stay tuned. We need you. We need you. It matters. The support we get here and there, people in the street, we see on the internet, it matters. They matter to us.
We call you family. Doesn't that say it all? I hope that we will find something that will be meaningful to our extended family.
One more.
I believe that we can do it, but we can only do it together.
Okay. I wanted to play that because of the fact that, you know, people say, oh, they're just out for the money. Without us viewers, there wouldn't be a show. Prometheus would drop the show. History Channel wouldn't want anything more to do with it. So we keep this going. Do they get money from Prometheus and the History Channel for this? Yes. And does that help fuel this and keep this investigation going until they get the answers that they're looking for? Yes. But are they doing it just for the money? Hell no. And I don't believe that that's the case. I think they're really trying to solve this. The easiest way for them to solve it is by doing the experiments and the, you know, we can all sit here as armchair quarterbacks and say, well, they should have done that. Well, they should have done that. What the hell are they doing that for? They're doing the best they can with what they've got. And
Right.
I think, and it takes us watching the show and being fans of the show to help keep it going.
I totally couldn't agree more. Yeah. And it was good to hear from them to directly say like, hey, we see you and we appreciate you. Keep watching. It matters. And like you said, like they're not doing it for the money. They're not doing it for the fame. As we know, they're not getting on podcasts and soaking up attention. They're not, and I don't, you know, I can imagine they don't need money based on, you know, the vineyard that Jeff has a video of is, you know, it looks really nice. So I feel like they've got other things they could do there. This is a project out of love and family and like,
the other thing too that
who said I didn't even believe in it. I just came here to be with family.
Alex.
Yeah. So, I mean, even like so many people are there, not for fame or glory. They're there just to support one another. And, you know, and then along the way, they've become believers in, you know, what Rick all along was trying to say. Oh, I'm sorry, Tom, what were you saying?
No, I was going to say, in addition to that, keep in mind all the people, the fellowship that they have working around that island, right? They're professional engineers and scientists and land surveyors and archaeologists. And I mean, those guys aren't just there. I mean, this thing is going to come to an end someday.
Mm-hmm.
And these guys have all got professional careers that they either have to go back to or they are continuing to do now, like Dr. Spooner's at Acadia University.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so when these guys are out there talking about what they're seeing and what they're finding, I mean, they're putting their personal reputations on the line, professional reputations on the line.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And not too many people are going to do that just, you know, to say, oh, I was on Oak Island. Mm-hmm. Right. Because there's going to be a life after Oak Island for these people as well. So, I mean,
absolutely,
you know, they need to be professional in what they do and in what they present. So, you know, they're not kind of winging it. They're not making it up as they go along.
Yeah. Yep. Vanessa says that these monster caissons that are used in Japan, etc., have to be welded on site, and they are installed in by vibrations and make her stuff look like peanuts in terms of cost. Mm-hmm. Wow. Okay. Interesting stuff.
Probably not going to happen.
Yeah, probably not going to happen. So yeah, so I support these guys 100%. I really do, and that's why, like I said, that's why we're going to the extent of doing the Oak Island Con. It's not making money for them. It's not making money for anybody. We're doing it because we want to get out there and allow for these guys to come and present and talk to us and meet them and go on, well, here, let's see. I think somebody, Tony, can you hear me? Tony, are you there? Okay, he must have stepped away. All right, well, we'll try to add him back in here. Tony is logged in, but he's been sitting there for so long now, he probably fell asleep. But
Probably nodded off. Probably going back to working on the boats.
yeah, he's back there. But anyway, that's why we're doing this. Is it's an opportunity for everyone to come and listen to these guys present, to go out on Tony Sampson's Salty Dog Sea Tours and be able to hear him and his crews and talk about all of this that's going on around Oak Island. And it's really going to be a fun time. I like I said, I really believe in what these guys are doing. I really do. And I want to help support them in any way that we can. You see that, Rick gets emotional. I'm kind of an emotional guy. If I get talking to people like that and I'm talking about something that's heavy on my heart, I get kind of choked up sometimes myself.
Well, I mean, there's a guy with the weight of the world on his shoulders.
Absolutely.
He believed in this, like he says, he brought his brother along, he brought Craig along, his business partner, he brought his nephews along.
Mm-hmm.
Now he's got all these other people that are coming along on this drive with him because they believe in what he's doing. So he's got the weight of the world on his shoulders because he wants to prove to these people and give them the satisfaction that what they're doing has value.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah.
That's a big load. That's a big load to carry.
Yeah. Yep. Hey, Tony, can you hear me? Tony Sampson, are you there? No, he's not. All right. I wanted to mention too, real quick.
Problems last week with their mic too. Was that
Tony? Salty Dog Sea Tours. Because of Tony, he working with Lorraine and I, Lorraine LeBlanc and I, and we were able to put this together for the Oak Island Con 2025. We kept it small this year. We had 48 tickets being sold. We're down to 12 now. There's 12 left. 36 have already been sold, and maybe even more but now, because that was what it was this morning, I think. So they're going fast. They're coming out of there. So, and I honestly, I think the tour on the 24th, the 9:00 tour, is actually better because of the early, the waters. We talked about this a little earlier, but I think it might be even better. But I think it's really going to be a good time out there, and everybody's going to enjoy themselves. I was just lurking, but I think Jeff reminded me of Rick inspiring Bravo. Yeah, that's what keeps me coming back. Yeah, I think Rick, and I've heard this from talking to not only the guys from the island, or the people, I should say, the people from the island, not guys. The people from the island, but also from anyone who has had the opportunity to meet him, i.e. the researchers and stuff, and Gretchen and John and Scott Clark and everybody, all the folks that have presented in there have come back saying that Rick is the most genuine person they've ever met. He is what you see on the show. And I have not had the opportunity to meet the man, but I would love to someday. So maybe that'll happen. But yeah, he like Tom said, he's got it all laying on the line. Tony, can you hear me at all? Are you there? Tony Sampson. Nope. All right. Well, we tried to bring Tony on. He was going to come on here and talk a little bit about some of what, as I mentioned before, real quick too, will his audio? Yes, it will. And that's what it says. It says that he has his, when I bring it up right here, it says Tony is in the stream, but audio only. But he can't. He's not. He must have walked away from his desk, or he's snoring right now. Maybe, I don't know. But anyway, so
I'm in a glass of dark and stormy, maybe.
Yeah. So don't in this for this particular one too. We don't have any researchers or anything like that presenting. Well, I say that he's not really a researcher, but Danny Henniger is going to be one of the presenters. And Danny, we had to have Danny because Danny and Scott Clark and those guys were around at the beginning, back before the Laginas were even involved in Oak Island. Danny was heading up the tours going out there on Oak Island. I don't remember what they called it, the Oak Island Gathering or something like that. But he was introduced to me by Carmen Legg as Mr. Oak Island, because this man knows so much about Oak Island. So
he would be the keeper of the current keeper of the history. He would be the historian of Oak Island.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I don't know why he's never written a book, but but he could for sure. I'm gonna try one more time for Tony. Tony, are you there? Can you hear me?
I'm here, buddy. Can you hear me?
Oh, there you go,
Hey.
Tony. Hey, there you are. All right, we're still live.
How's everybody going?
Oh, we're doing great. We've had a good show. We've kind of gone through and talked about the whole season finale and everything going on. So, how are we looking for the Salty Dog Sea Tours and the Oak Island Con 2025?
Just hang on a second, mate, and I'll check us out.
Okay, we can't see you. We can only hear you. So, just so you know that.
Oh, okay. I will see if I can fix that in a second, mate.
All right. Yeah, Tony's in the house. Another genuine person that I got to meet over the years going on. I've been on 2 of his Salty Dog Sea Tours so far.
Maybe I should put my hat on.
There you go. There's your Salty Dog hat right there. Yeah, you have one too. You met him, and
oh yeah, I've been on the tour. Yep.
Yeah, the tours are great. I really enjoy that, and that's what you're going to get when you go on this. You're going to get a tour, and then you're going to get the presentations that we're having at the Oak Island. Or at the it's called the Western Shore Legion, I think is where we're doing this. Called the Western Shore Legion. All right, what you got, Tony?
We have 11 places left for the 9 o'clock there, buddy.
11 play, and the 9 o'clock's actually better, isn't it? In your opinion?
In my opinion, yeah. You've got more chance of seeing the animals on Oak Island in their natural state.
In their natural habitat.
Natural habitat.
Yeah, absolutely. And the water's a little less choppy, maybe, and all that. There he is. Hi, how you doing?
Yeah, the 9 o'clock in the morning. Obviously, with Nova Scotia, we the mornings tend to be the flattest time. So mornings and the evenings. In the afternoon, the wind usually picks up. And it's just one of those things with the temperature fluctuations. In the afternoon we get the winds, and then in the evening and the mornings it tends to be calmer and flatter. So yeah, 11 spaces left for the 9 o'clock, and it's filled up very well.
Yeah,
and
it really has. Very
a lot of positive feedback, and I can't wait. It'll be an excellent time. It really will.
Yeah, I know. That's the thing I'm looking forward to. I just can't wait to meet everybody. You know, all the people that we've that are coming to this thing, and I love going out and meeting everybody that is a fellow fan of the Curse of Oak Island. And if you watch the show or not, well, that's if you do, great. If you don't, well, that's all right too. I'll be emceeing this event, and Tony's going to be up there talking a little bit as well, and Ken DeBoer. Yeah, it's going to be a great time with Ian's going to be there, and Matt Lukeman and Laird and his team. It's going to be a lot of fun. So yeah, 11 seats left, folks. So you're going to want to get in on this as soon as you can, because once the tickets are gone, yeah, it's going to be well, you'll have to watch on videos and stuff later on that people are taking. So we're going to ask that nobody takes any video of the presentations. But there'll be some stuff. We'll probably go live here and there throughout the whole event as well. So yeah, I'm really excited about this.
Yeah, no, it'll be a great time, mate. And honestly, that time of year is really good. It's the weather normally, as long as we don't get a hurricane.
No, don't say it. Say it isn't so.
Should be really good as well.
Yeah. Now, we talked a little bit at the beginning of the show about people that may have some issues navigating the site or getting that 401 or 404 error or something like that. What can they do if they, besides emailing me, can they call you directly on your?
Just give us a call on the cell phone, 1902-300-4108. And it's the same. Sometimes people have problems with their computers. Their security settings are too high. and they can't get through. So just give us a call and we can book you manually.
What was that number again? 902
300 4108.
There you go. I just put it up in the chat there. There you go. All right. Because I know we did start hearing some issues people were having with being able to get through there, get navigated, and get their tickets and everything. So if you have any trouble, please just reach out to us and let us know. We'd be more than happy to make sure you get your ticket and you can come to this event. There are some accommodations I have listed on mine on my website. I've got all the local hotels, ways of travel to get to and from Halifax if you fly into Halifax, restaurants in the areas, all that kind of stuff. So just go to jfree906.com and click on the link there for the Oak Island Con 2025. And there's a lot of information in the blog there for you. You can go and there's links in there to go to different places. So I would imagine that this is a good time. Also in the time of year, I've heard that September is beautiful in Nova Scotia and New Brunswick and all of that. But it's also a good time to be able to still get rooms because at summertime, things are tough, aren't they there at Tony?
Yeah, especially with all the different movies and the filming that goes on. Quite often, a lot of the places fill up. And also, it's a great time of year that if you're in the area, you can go over to the Bay of Fundy side and you get a lot of the whales coming up as well. So the whale watching in the Bay of Fundy side is amazing as well. And if you're over there, Bay of Fundy side, then a trip to Annapolis Royal, you can't go wrong there. That's one of the oldest settlements in North America. In fact, some of the oldest houses in North America are in Annapolis Royal. And the fort there, Fort Anne, dates back to 1602.
Wow.
So again, a marvelous place to visit.
Yeah.
It does have a Masonic connection, a French connection. And some people believe that when the British took that fort over, that some of those British soldiers could have actually come over to Oak Island as well. Yeah, there was a whole regiment that went to Fort Anne, and they pretty much vanished for the period of 3 months until they turned up in up at in Cape Breton at Louisburg there at the battle up there.
Wow. Now, is that also where the St. Clair Inn is? Isn't there? That's someplace that a particular researcher or two that was recently on the Curse of Oak Island found some information there, and they were supposed to come on and talk to us about that. Maybe they will still one day. I'm saying this because he's in the chat. One of them.
There's a lot of beautiful inns and Airbnbs in Annapolis Royal itself. And one of them is the Queen Anne. It's a marvelous bed and breakfast there. And then you've got also the Annapolis Royal Garden. So they've got a Victorian garden there. And that time of year is marvelous because you'll actually see all the plants in bloom as well.
Wow. Fantastic. All right. More good reasons why you need to come to Oak Island Con 2025. And not only, you might want to stay for the whole week, because honestly, there's a lot of great things to see and do up there. And I know we went to stay off the Black Rocks at Peggy's Cove Lighthouse. We're going to get t-shirts. I'm going to have t-shirt made up says stay off the Black Rocks, because I think that you hear that 1,000 times when you're there from everybody, because they get a death or two every year because people wander down on the Black Rocks. But also, like you said, the Bay of Fundy, awesome. Oh my gosh, it was awesome. But I never made it to Annapolis Royal, so I definitely want to do that. The Gloos Cup Stone. I mean, there's just so many things to do and see. I still want to get up to Louisburg too. So,
yeah, Louisburg's amazing. That whole coastline, all the way from Forcheux, Gabarouse, Little Lorraine, all the way up to Louisburg. That's shipwreck central. So people have been wrecking ships up that coast. I mean, if you look at Newfoundland up in Leasdale Meadows, you know, we've had Vikings there since the mid 900s to the thousands.
Yeah, we were talking about that. Yep.
Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, we've had Europeans here 500 years before Columbus. And so it's a whole Viking settlement up there. You can go and visit. It's an archaeological site.
Yep. Yeah, watch the show The Death Coast with Aaron Taylor's on there. Yeah, for sure. The cat just brought that up. That's interesting. I'm surprised you weren't on that, diving on that whole thing there too. But
I couldn't leave here. You know,
okay.
I couldn't go up for 10 weeks. It was just
yeah. All right, folks. Well, that's it for us, and that is it for you know what? I'm not going to say that's it for that's it for the season of the Curse of Oak Island, but that's not it for us talking about Oak Island and the work that's going on the island, because we'll stick with you all summer long. And of course, next week we have Corian Mole. He's going to be on with us, and he's going to be talking more and sharing some new information that he has about the Knights of Malta and the bloodline of Oak Island. That's next Wednesday, 7:30 p.m. And throughout the summer months, we're going to be coming on. Tom, we send Tom out, to do his spying and stuff, kind of to see. And
the speculation department is open 24 hours a day.
That's correct. Speculation is open 24 hours a day. We also have Colin Jameson going out in his boat. And don't forget about Karen Publicover from Oak Island, from the other side of the causeway, and her information that she shares. So we got a lot going on. It's going to be this summer. It's going to be a weird summer, but it'll be fun. And if you're on Tony's boats and you're going out for his tour, take lots of pictures and then come here and share them with us.
Yeah. Excellent. Okay. Well, I hope to see a lot of you up here for the Oak Island Con. And if you're coming up, safe travels. And don't forget the dark and stormy rums. You can't go wrong. Fish and chips and beer, or dark and stormy rum.
Dark and stormy rum. Is that a brand? Dark and stormy.
No. It's just Google it. It's a drink. Yeah.
Oh, dark. Oh, I'm gonna have. Oh, I'll have
dark
to
and stormy.
Dark and stormy. All right, I'm writing that down. You'll have to introduce me to that when we're up there.
Oh my goodness, yes. Yeah.
I've not had one. I did have the poutine. Is that what it's called? Poutine?
Yes.
I did. Oh no, Jeff. No.
Yeah.
Dark and stormy rum. No. Okay. Maybe
it looks good. I looked it up.
Does it? Okay. Well, I'm not much of a dark liquor drinker, but whatever. I can try one maybe.
It's a Bermudian thing. Gosling's rum, ginger beer, a little shot of Angostura bitters, a slice of lime.
Yeah.
And, you never know what ghost ships or stories you will see. Stormies.
It'll turn you into a visionary.
Oh, I bet. Yeah. Ooh, okay. Well, all right. Well, we'll keep that in mind when we're up there with everybody. But we certainly hope that if you can, you need to come to this event. It's really going to be a lot of fun. We're going to have a great time. So, folks, that's it. So Tom Burns, thank you so much, Tom, sticking with me all throughout this entire season of all these shows. And Seth, really appreciate you. Linda, of course, we love you. And thank you so much for all the hard work you've done. And Jan with her synopsis.
Every week.
And a wealth of knowledge.
Jan every week turns this gibberish into this.
Into that right there. Yeah, exactly. So we appreciate each and every one of you. Like the content of the show we did for you here tonight, please consider giving us a thumbs up. And if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. We appreciate that again very, very much. Thank you all. And we'll catch you next time right here on the J Free 906 podcast. Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Ciao for now.